Welcome to Joy in Our Town. My name's Terry Kreider. I'm your hostess today. And I have with me some return guests that I'm very excited to have back with Cry for Me No More, which is a grief going forward organization. And I have with me Dina, Martin Owens, and Ron Kelly. Now, the last time you were here, we talked about your organization. So for those who did not get to see the other program, tell them about your organization.
Okay. We are a nonprofit organization to help bereaved families move forward after a profound loss in their lives.
Okay.
And oftentimes people focus again and again on the actual death and loss that they've experienced. And during my research, trying to get on the grief journey one step at a time, I found how important it was to move forward. And through those lessons, Cry for Me No More was born and has touched a lot of people. We offer a lot of transformation.
That's a good
transformation.
Yeah, good. I like that. Transformation tools.
Exactly.
Yes. Very good. Now, Ron, you stepped in not long ago, and tell me how you hooked up with Cry No More.
Well, I think we made early contact, and I think I marketed myself to you to see if I could support the organization anyway, and I've come on board as a board member now. So what I do is go by the bylaws with them, and then make recommendations as far as where their missions and goals are. Not so much make recommendations, but sit and listen to the recommendations and see if we're all in agreement on them.
And you had a profound experience, and your 16-year-old son went home to be with the Lord, and you went through a real process, and through trying to find help, you actually ended up writing a book.
I did. When I went to look for the help, and of course, again, as we spoke of earlier, I first didn't want to. I wanted to hold in my grief because that's the way I was raised, was to hold it back in. And then John came to me in spirit one day and said, you know, basically you need to carry my legacy on. And in order to do that, I needed to grieve. I needed to start the process. I went out looking for, and certainly no insult to any medical or psychological profession out there, but there was no way in my male ego was I going to lay on anybody's couch. But I will read a book.
Yes.
So I went out looking for books, and there were none available. There were books out there for women and for siblings and for, I hate to be funny, but for pets. There were none out there that were directly targeted towards men. So I had to do my own clinical research on the difference in the way men express their emotions and how women express their emotions, and then bring it back into what I've observed in myself and other men throughout my life. Those discoveries led me into the fact that part of my legacy towards my son was to share those with other men.
And help them.
And help them.
All right, we were talking during the break about grieving illiteracy. And I asked you what that term, what would that term mean to you? And let's talk about that.
Okay, Terry, thanks. Yes, that's one of the biggest problems that the bereaved face, or I know in my own situation that I faced early on, was society did not understand what I was going through. And there were often times that, you know, people would ask me, aren't you over it yet? Isn't it time that you put that grief away? Well, I'm sorry, but I lost both of my children, my entire family, in the blink of an eye, and that's not something that goes away. And that's one thing that our organization does, is we advocate and educate grief literacy to society and teach people that it's not about recovery. I like to say that it's a journey with no destination.
Okay.
We continue to find coping skills and to move down that road. And, you know, a little bit further down the road, sometimes, you know, the journey gets a little bit easier for some, but for some it doesn't. And it's all very individual. And that's one thing that we find in society, is that we have been brought up oftentimes that death is taboo and it's not spoke of freely in our society. And in turn, people will often shun the bereaved because they don't know how to address them. They don't know what to say. They're afraid they're going to cause them to hurt or cause them to cry.
All right, so let's talk about it. How do I help you? How do I? You made a great point where Ron, where you were talking about a lady who came to you the other day about she had seen your son doing jumping up and down at a ball game. Talk about that.
And the point to that really was that there are people that are afraid when they approach you to even bring up the thought of your passing child, or it could be your passing spouse or something like that. And what they don't realize, and some of the advocacy will help bring that out as well, is that we love to hear their names. We love to celebrate their lives. Of course, all of that's time-based. If we go back to immediate grief, immediate bereavement afterwards, we're all sensitive. There are things we do and do not want to hear. I try to tell people sometimes immediately after the grief, you could say the worst thing in the world to me and I wouldn't know what you just said because my heart's just not listening to it. But there does come a point in time where we start to not so much, we're not healed, we're on our way, and things have started to soften a bit. But now we want our child remembered. Now we want our husband or wife remembered. Now we want our mother or father remembered. And we want people to start talking about them and bring them up. And my reference to the friend who had emailed me is thank you for the gift, because it used to bring pain, and now it's a little gift every time I hear somebody talking about my son.
Brings a smile to your face.
It does, and a warmth to my heart.
Yeah, warm to your heart. So help our viewers. When they experience, or they have a friend or a family member that goes through what you all have gone through, and they're in the very early stages, what are things that help?
Well, we like to say that the top few are be willing to listen. And, listening is so much more important than talking in the early stages of bereavement. It's important to be there for support. And there's nothing that anybody really has to do except be there to listen. And we held a webinar the other night, a live webinar with these topics. There's some things that can be brought in the initial aftermath that are very helpful, because there's oftentimes a lot of people that travel in for the funeral. Right. So things as simple as toilet paper and Ziploc bags for the leftovers and things like that. Okay. If you're the initial support person, that goes to be with the bereaved, there are some things that we recommend, and you can find that our webinar series is taped, and you can find that at griefdiaries.com.
Okay.
And we offer all kinds of suggestions on, what's the most important things to think about. But as I said, listening and hugging and being there are the real top ones. And
I think so many times we feel like we have to say something. And normally we say the wrong things. So really just the best thing is just to be there.
Yes.
Just to be there.
I had my younger sister was there during the services of my son. She was there for several days. And I don't think we spoke more than 5 words, but when I walked into her room, she'd stand there with her arms wide open and expect me to come get in them. And that was her way of showing me what she was there. And that was one of the greatest helps in the world, just knowing that she was there. The other thing is, that goes along with just being there, is anticipate and act. If you're there to support someone who's newly bereaved, guess for them. Guess what they need and go do it.
Because they're not going to know.
Even if it's wrong.
Even if it's wrong.
They're not going to know. Their brains are not functioning properly. So if you see the trash needs taken out, take out the trash. I heard something that was just profound to me not too long ago. Assign somebody early on to take down names. You know how people are always saying, if I can do anything, please let me know. Okay, well, assign somebody to take down those names and ask them, okay, what are you willing to do?
Right.
And then make a calendar and have that person who's coordinating actually reach out to those people and say, okay, you said you'd mow the grass. Could you come over today and mow the grass? I thought that was phenomenal.
That is a great
idea for someone.
Yeah. You made an analogy of your child going home to missing a limb.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Yeah, I'm big on analogies, and that one really touched me. I've heard the grief journey and losing someone so profound in your life as losing a limb, compared to losing a limb. And we're never going to grow that limb back. We're never going to get our loved ones back in this moment, this physical time. But we will, as we progress, we will be fitted for a prosthesis. We will learn to fumble through learning how to use it, and we will manage to move forward with this new mechanism to help us live. But it's never going to be the same. We will always know that we're missing that part of ourselves.
Right. Now, tell the people what you you all offer so many resources. Talk about the resources that are available to them, the different places that they can go. Tell them how to get in touch with you and find out all those resources.
Well, as Terry said, we have a lot of different services that we offer, and one of our biggest is resources. If someone contacts me from anywhere in the country, I will stop what I'm doing and I will find them some bereavement resources for support in their area. One of our big services is a 2.5-day transformational workshop for bereaved parents and siblings. We're hoping to open that up to a broader range of grief in the coming years. And all the information on all of our services, we do some live support groups online. We do live webinars, some classes. We're in collaboration with Grief Diaries, and we've just been appointed to the founding board of the National Grief and Hope Coalition. So we're very excited about that. So yeah, all that can be found on our website at www.cryformenomore.com. And then you have a website as well.
I do. My website is simply grievingmen.com, and it's a forum where men can come to, or women. One of the things that we didn't discuss about the book really quick when we discussed it earlier was the fact that so many women seem to be finding enlightenment in the book as well, because they want to read it to understand what men are going through. And when I say I paint with a broad brush, there are many women that are coming back saying, but I feel that too.
Yeah.
So women can go there as well. But the site was designed for men, and it was named grievingmen.com, where you can find resources. You can find an open forum where you can tell your stories, or you can read the stories of other men, as well as get a copy of the book.
And your book again?
Is Sometimes I Cry in the Shower, and it's subtitled A Grieving Father's Journey to Wholeness and Healing.
Yeah. And that's really what it's all about. I know you had said that it's all about moving forward, making a legacy, a living legacy for those who have gone before us, and not allowing them to, even though you're missing that part of you, but embracing that part of you.
Right.
And not going back to the death part, but going back to the life part.
Right.
And the love relationship.
And the love relationship.
That never dies. It's always a part of us. And I think I mentioned earlier, in the work that I do, I feel that I am a channel for my children's love and God's love to come through me and reach other people.
Yeah.
And so in that sense, they're still very much here with me all the time. And they're a big part of my life. At Christmas time, I still shop for them. And I give their presents to people they love.
That's awesome.
And so that's a healing thing that I do for myself. But it also, it's something that I know they would love, and surely their friends are often touched.
Oh, that's so precious.
Yeah.
Well, and they can find all of those little things to help move forward on your website and through your blogs and webinars.
Absolutely.
And that is so wonderful.
And I wanted to mention too, if any of our viewers are ever interested in our program is mobile.
Okay.
We currently go nationally.
Okay.
And so if anybody's ever interested in our workshop coming to their area, they can contact me directly. It's my phone number on the site.
Okay.
So, and we can talk more about that, how they can bring it to their area.
All right. One more time, your website.
Yes, it's www.cryformenomore.com.
Awesome.
And we have a very large Facebook presence, so I hope that people look us up on Facebook as well.
Awesome.
We post very encouraging, healing articles to help people understand that they're not alone and they're not going crazy.
Amen.
That it's all normal. It's painful, but it's normal.
Painful, but normal. Well, you're creating some great new people. So thank you so very much for being with us today.
Thank you,
for having
Terry.
us.
And thank you for watching.